Hey everyone, how are you? Oh, here we are, another episode of Dear Jill. It's nice to be back on my sofa, my comfy sofa with my little cushions and me backdrop. See Matt, what do you think when I say that? Have you heard of this person?
Singer, songwriter. I hope.
Yes,
Yes.
you're right. Irish. Anyway, I seen her perform live quite recently, and I think I just wanted to talk about her because I've just looked up as I've said that, and there's a picture like near the ceiling that says "fearless," and that's what she's like. She's like, I've never, for a long time, watching someone perform who is as free and as fearless as her, it really makes me feel a certain type of way. I feel, of course, like there's so many people in the music scene and in my business that look perfect and that, you know, are that terrible phrase, the perfect package, but that's what they are, you know. And Matt has the most amazing voice, in my opinion, writes brilliant songs and uses her voice and her body and her performance in a bit of a way to just be exactly who she is. And I wouldn't say it's like an FU to the music industry in any way, but what I'm trying to say is she doesn't try to conform. And I just feel like the older I get as well, the more I'm so happy that there's people in the world, that there's performers in the world who are willing to just be who they are and to not think that they have to look a certain way and write a certain way to, you know, be on the radio or to, you know, do live performances. I mean, honestly, she's doing so well. It's not like she's not like achieving everything she wants to achieve. But what I'm trying to say is it's just like especially, you know, I think it was about a year ago now, she went to the Brit Awards with, she had a dress on and it was black and it was high neck at the front. I think it had long black sleeves. And when she turned around, it was all cut out at the back and it showed, I don't know, I want to say about 2.5 inches of bum crack. And she was being interviewed about it and she said that they very, very specifically measured the amount of bum crack that she was showing. And it was in conjunction to the average amount of cleavage you would show. So she was like, I think bums and tits should be equal. But what she also said, which I think is like a bit more sort of profound to me, is that one of the only reasons she thinks the internet went mad about her bum dress is because of the size of her bum. She thinks that historically there's loads of people that have worn dresses where their bums are on show, or you can see a bit of bum crack, and no one's really cared that much. But it's like a size 14 with a bum out. Oh wow, what's she thinking? Isn't she brave? All of that kind of rubbish. And it's just, you know, my industry is the same. It's a bit of a depressing world that we live in where we pretend, I think, to be much more body accepting. Oh no, we'll have people of all sorts of shapes and sizes, and I just don't think that's true. I think that if you look on, let's pick my industry. If you look on television now, I think what you will see is a lot of very small actors and actresses and lots of much, much bigger at the other end of the scale. And they see that as body diversity and body acceptance. Because look, there are people that are, you know, considered obese and we've cast them. And there are people that are considered tiny and we've cast them. It's like, yeah, but most people are the ones in between. So where's the diversity in that? Where are the 14s? Where are the 16s? Where are the 18s? Without having to cast a character whose part of their storyline is the fact that they're a bigger person. People who are these sizes don't walk through life going, oh, well, I'm a bigger person. It's like, no, they're just a person. It's something that just really depresses me about media, about creative industries, about having to look a certain way, and about how anything above a certain size is considered to be unusual. I want people to just be who they are, be naturally who they are, be the size then their body naturally wants them to be.
You obviously, being in the media though, you're on telly, you're doing all these things. Have you ever felt like you had to change yourself to be
Yeah, of
able to fit in
course.
there?
Yeah, you feel pressure. You feel pressure to be just like on top of things. I mean, I've never ever been what people would describe as slight. And many times in the past when people have written about me, they will literally, the first line will be curvy Geordie actress, pigeon-chested Geordie actress. What else have I been called? Busty. I mean, the amount of times that my chest or my body have been within the first sentence of people writing about me is insane. I mean, it's less common now, but it's a bit more insidious now. Because what they'll do is they'll put a picture of you in a magazine and go, hey, Jill just on her way to the gym. So without, like, maybe in the past, it would be Jill's put on weight and she's on her way to the gym. This will just be Jill's on her way to the gym, and then they'll rely on the comments section for people to go, oh, she looks a bit bigger than usual, or blah, 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 and on it goes. So yeah, like I feel enormous pressure. That's why I get so annoyed about it, because I still think the stigma is very, very much there in creative industries. And Seema, I think, is right what she said. It's like not many people would have batted an eyelid had she been a size 6 or 8. But because she dared to do it in a size that was, above average in her industry, it was like, and it's boring. It's really boring. It's just, we just need to start having acceptance around that a lot more.
And in your head, has it got easier or harder?
So what happens is, well, what's happened with me is that I've got wiser, and I've become much more acceptant of myself, and I've become much more aware of how things need to change. And running all the way alongside that, I'm also getting older. So I'm trying to be so accepting, and I'm trying so hard to just take everything for what it is. And at the same time, I've watched myself age on screen. So from 13, I watched myself go through puberty on screen. And then I get to be, then I get the boobs and I get the hips and I get all that, and I watch my body change. And then I have to then watch myself then get older, which, listen, on the one hand, yeah, what a privilege, what an amazing privilege, like so grateful for my career, all of that. But that part, that judgment side of things, where you look at yourself and you think, am I good enough? That's really challenging, to have to watch all of that on screen alongside everyone else. It's really hard.
Mm-hmm. And well, how do you make sure you don't listen to that horrible voice in your head then?
Because I tell myself again and again and again that that's not what we're made of. That's not what's important. That my job is to tell a story. My job is for somebody to believe who I am and go on a story with me. If I have clothes that are a size bigger, or I have spots on my face, or my teeth aren't as white as people's teeth are nowadays, I have to just accept that that's just who I am. I just have to, it's all about like a radical acceptance all the time. But I would be lying to you if I didn't say that I'm in constant conflict with that. But yeah, just watch and see, Matt. She makes me excited, and she makes me feel excited for the young people who watch her, who just go, yes, like what's really important here is the talent and the voice, and that the fact that she kicks ass and she's amazing with everything she does, and she's just being her, and she's not conforming to what the music industry would have her conform to. Anyway, that was a massive rant, but I'm basically just trying to say I love Seema. I'm tired.
Favourite song?
I want to be a cowboy, which I do. I do want to be a cowboy. I'm a cowboy at heart, or a cowgirl.
There it is. There it is. Our first voice note is from Audrey.
Dear Jill, so I've started dating someone a couple of months ago and everything is great. There's just one thing that I am struggling to deal with. Anytime we go to get food or go to a nice restaurant, he has the worst table manners. He is chewing with his mouth open. Sometimes he starts speaking to me whilst he's still chewing food. And sometimes he just doesn't bother using a knife and he'll just struggle with just using a fork instead. I don't know why he does this. I don't know if I'm being a snob. I've tried making playful little suggestions or jokes to hint at him to, fix his table manners, but he's not getting the hints. And I don't know how much more I can take because I do not want to go out for food with him because I feel sick whenever I'm opposite him and I can see food flying everywhere while he's talking and eating at the same time. But everything else is perfect. So I don't know how to deal with this in the best way.
No, you just got to have this conversation. You got to have this conversation outright. Be like, you're a pig. You are disgusting when you eat. Use your knife and fork. Like, who does that? This is just ridiculous. And if everything else is perfect and you get on really well, wouldn't it be such a shame if you have to eat a lot? I mean, it's not just eating out, is it? You got your breakfast, you got lunch, you got dinner and supper sometimes. Come on. You've just got to say, listen, I don't know if you know this, but you've really got bad table manners, like off-puttingly bad, like actually making me feel a bit sick bad. And I really, really would love you to just try your hardest to make that work out better for me. Because in the long run, that's gonna kill off any desire whatsoever. You're gonna be like, thinking about it when you shouldn't be. No, this has got to be sorted head on. This is just there's no pussyfooting around on this one. It's just like nah. And you know what? He might genuinely not realize. He might be like, do I? I mean, you could even secretly film him. Is that terrible? You could do, couldn't you? Just secretly film him and go, look at that. That's what I have to see. Oh, God, no. No, just tell him. If he has any pushback, I think you've just got to say, like, I don't know, like, what would he hate if that you did? No. It's just a no-brainer. You just tell him. You just got to sort himself out. He's a grown man. He's not a kid. Shut your mouth. Use a knife and fork. Stop making a noise. Some people have got misophonia. Like that's like actually quite a common thing when the sound of that somebody else makes when they're eating actually physically makes them want to kill. Like Sarah Silverman has it. Richard E. Grant has it. I was thinking of another famous person. I can't think of one now. But anyway, there's two off the top of my head, right? And they said that it actually ruins their night, their experience, their time, because it makes them so insanely angry. Now, I'm not saying you've got misophonia, but I am saying that you've just got to, it's just part of growing up, isn't it? It's just it's like somebody walking into, somebody else's house and just chucking their shoes in the middle of the floor and, like going to the toilet and not flushing or something. It's just manners. It's just basic manners. Come on. But listen, if that's the only problem, to me, that's fixable. That is definitely fixable as long as you're as like brutally honest with him about it. But at least that's not like, his personality.
Our next voice note is from Simon.
Dear Jill, I'm facing a weird problem that started a few weeks ago. I've been in a relationship now for a few months, and the man I'm with is much more of a texter. He doesn't like to call, whereas I like to call. And I told him I prefer and love being called every day. So we decided to take turns where he'll call me and I'll call him. But all of a sudden, he stopped calling again. I've told him that it feels kind of weird if I'm the one always calling. where he says it doesn't matter who's calling who. But after chatting it through, he said he avoids calls as he has to be on client calls all day and it gives him a headache. And so I was okay with this initially, but it's been 2 days and we haven't called each other. Like I know he's busy with work and he's got, meeting friends, which is all fine. And we do keep in touch by text. We go on dates, we see each other weekly, but I feel like I'm the only one who still calls, although he does initiate texting. Am I asking too much?
You know what, Simon? I do know a lot of people who don't like calling. I think what might be hard in this situation is that he did try to meet you. He did try and compromise and say, okay, I don't like calling, but we'll call each other every day, but we'll take it in turns, which doesn't seem like a big deal to me. That does not, honestly, believe me, if I thought my partner had a problem with calling me once a day, that would really upset me, that they thought that they wouldn't want to. But I'm trying to be really gracious and think about it really in terms of people who really genuinely just, they find calls quite intimidating. They don't really know what to say. They worry about conversations stopping. They're sort of more awkward on a call than they feel like they are on a text. But I totally can see your point of view. And if you're in a relationship, texting just feels, to me, like slightly immature. That it could just be something more than that. So I guess I would have another conversation with him. And I would say, I know you don't like calls. How about, does he like FaceTime? Or is that what you're doing, FaceTime? Because the thing is, I prefer FaceTime to phone calls. Because I think when you're on a phone call, if there's any sort of gap or pause in the conversation, it makes people panic. Like they don't know what to say and they don't know what to do next. Whereas when you're on FaceTime, like there's natural pauses, or somebody might react to something you say and you say, oh, you look cute when you did that, or oh, that was sweet, or I want to, you comment on the way they look, or even what they're wearing, or where are you? I can see there's something behind you. So anyway, I don't know if that's what you're doing, but if you're not, I would definitely try to FaceTime if you can. If he really hates that as well, you could say, I mean, a voice note even would be nicer than a text, surely. At least it's a bit of you're feeling like you can hear the emotion even in the voice, because that's what you miss with a text, isn't it? There's often not a lot of emotion to it. And I've got some friends who really hate voice notes, and I will voice note them and they will just text back. No matter how many times I voice note them, they will just text me back. But yeah, I really get where you're coming from. I would feel exactly the same as you, but I'm trying to be really understanding and really generous here. And I'm going to try and I'm going to admit that I do know people who really hate phone calls and who struggle with them. So ask if there's some alternatives that you might like, just a FaceTime or something like that, or a cup of tea and a Zoom or something just for half an hour. I can see what he's saying about being on meetings all day and having to sort of stare at screens. So that might be something that he just doesn't want to do. But I think just, if you explain why you want the call, and I'm presuming the reason why I would want to call is because I want to hear the voice. I want to hear the feeling. I want to hear the emotion. You get so much more from hearing someone's voice than you would ever from a text. So just have another conversation and see where it goes. And even if you come to, I don't know, another compromise, which is, we'll have phone calls, 3 times a week, and then the rest of the time we don't have to. But I think you got to meet in the middle somewhere. What's your feeling around phone calls, Emma?
I used to have massive anxiety.
Yeah.
Making a call, answering a call, calling the doctors.
And what's in that?
It's what you said, and I don't think I realised it till you said it. It's that you don't know. You want to fill a silence.
Yes.
You don't know how they're feeling, where they are, what they're doing, why they've had a silence, or they don't like me all of a sudden, that sort of thing. And on top of that, I always, when you text me,
mm-hmm.
and I still do this now, if anyone ever texts me I always read it angrily. So someone could say, "Oh, what you doing? Oh, what you doing?" And I'd read it, "What you doing?" And I have to tell myself, sometimes like an emoji can save the day for me, because it's "what you doing," smiley face. What you doing?
So where are you at now? Do you prefer a voice note?
Yes.
Yes, because you like to hear.
FaceTime, a voice note. Lovely.
And I do think that we're all just completely different, and we all have different like sensory kind of experiences. And like for somebody that doesn't read texts, you know, in a defensive way like that, they're fine with that. They don't think that at all. But I totally get where you're coming from. There's a way to misinterpret something so easily on a text, but then for someone on a phone call, and I was like that when I was younger as well. I just, oh God, any silence whatsoever, I always thought it was my responsibility to fill the gap. And I think that's why even now I kind of just prefer a FaceTime or a voice note. But I think if you're in a relationship, I think you've got to get to the point where your communication is a bit stronger than that, don't you? Mm-hmm. But mind, I do really sympathise with people who have to be on call all day, every day. Imagine that. You're on. In fact, I've got a friend who says that, and she'll say to me, you know, we don't live close to each other, and she does a lot of online work, and she'll say, "Jill, I would really love to chat to you or to FaceTime, but I've literally spent the last 8 hours doing it. And when I log off, I just for the rest of the night, I don't want to have to do it." Obviously, you know, we make it work and stuff like that, but I get it. But, you know, I think you just got to meet in the middle somewhere. Just get something you're both happy with.
Dear Jill, I'm looking forward to start dating again, but basically I'm broke after losing my job. So I'm worried if a girl would want to date me again. And if so, where could we date when I'm broke? It's embarrassing to say, but I really don't have much money.
Matthew, yeah, absolutely somebody would want to date you. And it's not your responsibility to pay for every date that you go on as well. I mean, that's something that hopefully people have got their heads around these days. It's certainly not the man's responsibility to pay for every date that you go on. I think the best way to go around this is, if you do meet someone and you have a nice connection, is just to be very honest about it and very upfront and say, "Listen, at this moment in time, money is a bit of an issue for me. I so want to hang out with you and I want to meet up with you, but we're probably going to have to keep it like really simple." And the simplest thing that you could possibly do, I would say, is go for like a walk. Nice walk if you live by the sea, along the coast. If you live inland, go to the forest somewhere. Just have a nice walk. If you can't afford to buy a cup of tea or coffee, bring a flask, bring some food. Just keep it really, really simple and just get to know somebody. And, you know, hopefully in the future your situation will change. But I think that to think that a woman only wants to meet somebody who has money is a mistake, and I understand why you feel bad about it, but I think just being really, really honest about where you're at and keeping it simple, and just, you know, just doing things that are free. I mean, there's actually quite a lot of museums and things like that in the city that are free entry, walks, talks, picnics, just driving. I live by the sea now, but before I lived by the sea, I used to like just driving to the sea and even just sitting in the car, you know, and just watching the waves and just chatting. And like, you could even just be like silly and inventive, like drive to the sea in the car with your iPad and watch a movie as if you're in like some sort of romantic drive-in, and just have like some food in the back of the car, or take a little blanket or something and get all cozy. Like, just if you really have a connection with someone, it usually doesn't matter what you do, and you just have the best time anyway. In the future, of course, like in a practical sense, then finances always come into it, but that is for another day. You don't need to worry about that now. All you need to know is that, yeah, absolutely, you know, you should, you know, a good person and a good connection is nothing to do with how much money they've got in their pocket. Hiya, how you doing?
Hiya, Jill, you right?
Yeah, I'm good. How can I help?
Good, good. So my dilemma is the job I do, I'm a digital trainer. So quite lucky I get to travel around the country. And I often go to London. And when I go to London, I stay in nice, fancy, posh hotels. So when you stay in a posh hotel, you know the kind of thing. I'm sure you've seen them. You open the cupboard, you see there's all these fancy tea bags and, you know, your little razor and your little toothbrush set, and you open the wardrobe and you've got the kind of things like slippers, and you've got all, you know, the his and hers bathrobes and things. So my dilemma is, when I kind of come to go home and I think, oh, I've got a bit of space in my suitcase, what should I take and what should I leave? So what do you suggest? What do you think? What's okay to take and what's, you know, a little bit too much? Are you taking the mickey a little bit? So what do you think?
Right, Steve. And I know the hotels you're on about, and it's dead exciting, isn't it? There's still nothing more exciting than, ooh, what do I get for free?
Definitely.
But you're right. I think some people really take the piss. So I think that obviously any toiletries, anything like a razor or something like that, because it's going to be a disposable one, and that would be just weird if somebody shared that. Any of the biscuits, anything like that. But then I would never and have never like taken a robe, because that's stealing. Have you nicked a dressing gown?
Not the dressing gown, but I was some nice slippers, and I thought slippers, no one's going to reuse the slippers, so we're just going to put in the bin. So
well, I often wonder about I do wonder about
Yeah.
those slippers, and I think the same. I think, do they have like a system where they can somehow like wash them or something? Or I don't know, but yeah, I think the slippers would be all right. But the thing is, if you're always down in London and you're always staying in these hotels, how many pairs of those little flat slippers that are literally like the size of a crisp on your foot? How many of them do you really need?
Well, I don't know. It's always good to have them in different rooms. I mean, I was listening to one of your podcasts actually,
Yeah,
and was mentioning like slippers in different rooms. I thought, well, I've got a few rooms in the house. I can have a
You've
different
just schooled me there.
in
You've
each room.
absolutely schooled me. You're right. I'm now just picturing your house with just all of those flat slippers in every room.
Slippers everywhere.
That's excellent.
Definitely.
Oh, like for your guests, you know, when people say like, hey, would you mind like taking your shoes off? But, you know, help yourself to some slippers.
Oh, I'm not that posh. Not that posh.
Thanks for calling in, and hopefully the next hotel you go to, you'll think twice about taking anything that you know you shouldn't, because we know the things we shouldn't take. They make it quite obvious.
Yeah. I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, let us know. All right.
Craigan.
Cheers.
Take care,
Thank
Jill.
you. Bye.
Bye.
So we're saying slippers, yes. Dressing gown, no. Biscuits, yes.
Anything that's edible like that, yes. I mean, obviously, if you take something that they're going to charge you for, they'll know. They'll charge you. That's coming straight off your bill. But yeah, I find it weird when people say things like, oh, there's a bar in town. It's got really lovely glasses that they serve the beer in, so I took one home. Oh,
I've done that.
But that's stealing.
It's not, man. They've got loads.
Right, okay. But even if you stole off the richest person in the world, it's still stealing. But what if there's 1,000 Emmas in 1 month that steal all the glasses? What if there's 1,000 people that speak like thought like you? Do you not think that that's like a business trying to, like, they have to replace all those glasses?
When you put it like that, I guess. But when I'm just taking my one glass in my
but that's the
large
problem,
coat.
isn't it? That's what everybody thinks. It's just me. But then there might be 1,000 people like you, and then suddenly they've got no glasses left.
No, but it was a nice glass.
Karma.
Yeah. Oh, now I think I'm going to have to go and return them all.
Spend the next few weeks just going into bars, just slyly putting them down on the table.
That was yours.
Can I help you, pet? No. Just returning me glass. Well, thanks again, everybody, for calling in. If you have anything on your mind, please get in touch. I'd love to hear from you. And I'll see you all next week. Bye.